Oh God.
I don't know what my only crime was being happy. That's all I did.
I hate you.
Holy shit, Danny.
I'll do the intro. Hi, hey, hello. Welcome to a Market Down production. My name is, and I am joined by, and we are here to talk about AEW Dynamite. It was another episode of the, I'm just going to say, 7th longest weekly episodic TV show of all time. I can't imagine what's ahead of it, honestly. So we're just going based off nothing. Already people coming in hot off the presses with opinions on the show. It was kind of a rubbish show, Jay. I'm not going to lie to you. But I guess we'll dive into it a little more. But before we do, on a scale of 11 to 14, how excited are you for life in general?
Life in general, I'll give it like a 13.
Okay, that's not bad. 13 out of 14, out of 11 to 14. Okay, that's pretty good. Glad to hear it.
What about you?
We don't have time for that. We got to get into the show.
Fair enough.
So this was an episode of Dynamite. It definitely happened. It for sure took place. The show aired, content aired, and then the show ended. And that's the best way to describe it. I guess we'll start from the top because why not? The show opened, as many Dynamites do, with Orange Cassidy's theme music, which is always a promising start. But the issue with this week was that he wasn't in a singles match. He was in an 8-person tag, which is fine. But I've come to the conclusion that AEW isn't good at doing 8-man tags. They're only good at doing 6-man tags. Unless
is that based off the start of the show?
It's based off the start of the show, and I can't remember a time where I was excited for an 8-man tag, unless one of those teams was comprised of Sting and Darby Allin.
Okay, fair.
I don't think it's their strong suit. I think trios matches are their strong suit. But
not for the trios title, though.
Yeah, well, actually, that's one of the things I'm excited about on the show, so we'll talk about that later. But
yeah, me too.
Adam Cole, Bandito, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong took on the Jericho Appreciation Society Sans Jericho, which actually I think is the Jericho Appreciation Society because they're the ones appreciating Jericho. So that's the truest form of the JAS, as it were.
That's fair.
It was a fine match. I actually thought the first half of this match was incredibly boring with a lot of nothing happening, which I was very surprised at, which is why I came to this conclusion that I decided I was going to make this statement on the pod. But Strong had a nice hot tag towards the end of the match, and then he tagged in Cassidy, who immediately there was a clear missed time in situation between him and Garcia because he made the tag and then waited on the outside for 10 seconds while Garcia looked confused. So, a little bit of a mishap there, but ultimately Cole gets the win. He hits the boom, or he lowers the boom on one of 2.0. It doesn't matter. They're interchangeable despite not looking anything alike. And immediately after he gets the pin, he runs up the ramp and brawls with Jericho, which was a nice touch.
I loved it. I loved it.
And they brawled to the back, or security pulled him off, and then Jericho's like, "He's a heathen! Get him out of here! He's a heathen!" Because that's look, we make fun of Jericho fuse a lot on the show, and rightfully so. But one of the things Jericho is best at is little things like that, little details of run-of-the-mill segments and spots that he makes that extra special. And then they showed later after commercial that the brawl continued a little bit backstage, and once again Jericho ended up on the floor just saying, "He's a heathen, get him out of here!" And it was funny. It was good at Jericho comedy. So, not my favorite match to start the show, but it certainly was a match. What did you think about it?
I liked it. I liked it for the most part. I wish that Roddy I understand that Adam Cole is the important part of the story here, but I wish that Roddy was able to have gotten the win as the debuting guy. But I understand that this is done to serve Adam Cole's story. I also are we just accepting Bandito and Orange Cassidy as a tag team now? Like, is this just reality now? It's a little weird, but I do like their dynamic. I like the odd couple relationship here. But hey, anything to make sure Chucky and Trent just aren't on our TVs, right? Anything to make sure that that's the case.
I mean, you can't have those guys on TV, you know.
Apparently.
If you keep them off TV, they can't get injured. So maybe it's not the worst strategy.
I guess so. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're on Ring of Honor every week now, which is great.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't believe you.
I don't believe me either. But hey, that's just Orange's, like, it's Orange's lot in life to carry his tag team or group on his shoulders. Bandito is more interesting now in these last 2 weeks than he has been since he debuted. So good for Bandito. Cole, I loved him attacking Jericho. You know, this is the first time in a long time, years and years, we're seeing a truly babyface Adam Cole. So what type of babyface is Adam Cole going to be? And I like that he has an edge to him. I like that he has a personality still. I like that he isn't just some white meat babyface. As soon as his match is done, he doesn't care. He's going to attack Chris Jericho. I like that, and I like what followed afterwards.
Yeah, it was good fire. It was a nice addition to the story. It just, like I said, I just wasn't super into the match personally, but you know, that's neither here or there. But before we move on to what happened next, I gotta ask you a question.
Please.
Why are we all here?
In what sense?
Like, what's the point, you know?
Of life?
Yeah, if anything, really. But
you know, I wonder, and I'm just trucking on, man. It's above my pay grade to know those answers. Here I am, doing my thing, living life, being happy.
It's interesting that you said trucking, because I heard a story about you in a truck once, but you know, we don't.
What does that mean?
It's, you know what, it happened recently.
God. Okay, yep. Moving on.
Yeah, we're gonna move on. We had a little.
Please.
We had a little segment, a little backstage interview with Renee, Darby, and Jack Perret, and you know, just asking, hey, how do you feel about your match later? You know, you think you're gonna win, or you think you're gonna blow it? You know. And they were like, no, we might blow it because, you know, we have tension, but I doubt we're going to blow it. And they basically were just like, yeah, we're going to do it. And then one of us is going to win the title. And then that'll be that. But, you know, that might not be that, because we have more segments later that might show that might not be that. You know what I mean? So nothing really to get into here. We'll get back into it later. Come back from commercial break, and that's when the Jericho and Cole stuff happened again. But like I said, it was funny. And then we had a great Blackpool Combat Club promo. It was like 90% a great Blackpool Combat Club promo, because you couldn't hear the first like 30 seconds of it.
Right. Thank God they got it when they did. Thank God they saved it when they did, because we were able to put together what was like the context of it. Even if we don't know how we got there, thank God, because it was so good, and I'm so happy that they're pissing off as many people as they're about to piss off.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy that they hired the like production guy from WWE, that the people in WWE were like, that's a really big get for them, and I feel like there's been no difference, and they still have these issues like almost every week.
I think it was a sarcastic thing. It was just like, yeah, that's a really big get for them, right? What's his name? Who was it again? I think that's what it turned out to be.
It must have been. Oh my God. It really was. But anyway, Brian, He says there's a certain legend who said he was the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. But how could he have the foresight to see that there will never be someone better than him? That is very fickle of him. That's an amateur mindset to have, if I do say so myself. And he said that he is better. Brian is better, and I agree, but we're not.
I do too.
To that now.
FTR might hear us. FTR might hear us. Oh god.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey Dax, if you're looking for a new podcast, we got room here.
No, you know what? I don't think we do. Sorry, Dax. Cash, though, we have room. If you ever want to join us, Cash, you're welcome.
Do you have opinions, Cash? Like, I'm just wondering. I've never heard you talk about them. So, but Brian says he's the best. He's the best wrestler alive. And again, he's supposed to say that as a heel thing, but that's like the most credible thing anyone's ever said.
Yep.
But he's like, if it's not me, it's one of these guys. Where he lost a little bit of credibility there, no. It is a brilliant line. That's what I like to hear from my good guys, from my villains, from everyone. I hate to use the term give people their flowers, but you give people their flowers because whether you're good or bad, it is good to give the people on your side their due. And, I was only jokingly saying he loses credibility when he says that when Yuta's in the group. But, I love their dynamic now because he calls him a little shit. And he's like, even this little shit, he might be better than me one day. But because of the tools we've laid out, I know there will be someone better than me in the future. I was like, how are these guys the bad guys?
I know.
But they are.
Yeah,
but it's like, they say these things. They're like, I agree with you. Yes, please.
I love how Brian has sort of seamlessly jumped into the William Regal role of the group.
And he's doing it better.
He really is. And I love Regal. We all love Regal generally, but we've commented that he didn't really find his natural flow in AEW. He was struggling, I think, from being such a scripted guy for so long to then being an unscripted promo. He was still William Regal. He's still on his worst day better than a lot of people, but better than most people. But Brian has just been doing it so effortlessly, and it's been fantastic to see. He has really taken into whatever Regal's last lessons were supposed to be about what being a villain really means. And I love that. I love how he's been I love his new role within the group. And oh god, he's such a good advocate for the rest of them, he is such a good advocate for that group. And who would have thought in a group with Jon Moxley that Bryan Danielson would be the best promo,
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like he needs to be, but he just happens to be, and it's kind of great. But at 42, that's the meaning of life. Also a good Monty Python movie. I know you corrected the typo in the next comments, but 42 also a good baseball number. Very very important. We're fans of 42 here, even if half of us might not live to that age. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when it collapses underneath us. But Brian goes on to say, sorry, the show's tone's all over the place. All right, he passes the buck to Moxley, and Moxley's like, iron sharpens iron. The Elite, you guys used to be trailblazers in this business, not so much anymore. And again, I agree, but not in a bad way, not in a fuck the Elite way, just in they're definitely chilling a little bit more. Oh god, there's a cat meowing outside my door. But what's crazy is up until 10 minutes before we started, she was laying in my bed, and then her and her mom got out, and they were just like, yeah, okay, we'll see you later. And now she's already back. It's been 20 minutes. But anyway,
dependent. Very dependent.
Mox, it's like, oh, we're not bullies. It's just higher levels, bigger devils, That's the classic saying. We've all heard that. We all say that. But they're going to have a cage match next week. And, man, I'm already uncomfortable.
It's going to be bloody. They are really hyping up. And we could talk about it later, or we can talk about it now. Even Kenny was saying it. It's going to be a bloody mess next week.
It is. I genuinely do not know what to expect. And it's very clear that more excited about next week than this week.
Yeah.
So we'll get to Kenny's promo or their promo a little later, but after or before we get to the next segment, let me ask you a question. Do you think you're going to be a good dad?
I think so. I hope so. I should start by saying I hope so. But I feel like I have a lot of dad-ish qualities now. Like I make really corny jokes. I always make sure you have your seatbelt on in the car, you know.
I hate people don't wear their seatbelt in the car.
Exactly. So I think I have like the building blocks for it.
I was gonna say probably because you have so many toys, so you're already
that's also very true. See, but these aren't for them to play with. You know, if they play with these toys, I'll be a bad dad. I don't know what that implies, or like what you're going to infer from that statement, but these lock down.
So Saraya took on Willow Nightingale next, and it's good. Saraya hasn't wrestled much, but so far when she does, she's giving girls the rub, giving them a good spotlight. She's getting in there with the younger, more undercard talents like Sky Blue and Willow here, and Willow's over, so this was kind of fun for as brief as it was. There was not much to it, but she gave Willow a lot of offense. The crowd, as always, is behind Willow. It's kind of amazing, honestly, how crowds are behind her when she's not on TV that often, and then when she is, she just loses matches. But the crowds are still into her, so good on her. But with a lot of shenanigans to make Willow look strong, eventually Saraya does pick up the win, hitting the Rampage, which I think is just called Good Night now, which is like fine, but all the page puns were just actually it was just two page puns, but they were great.
I mean, it's still a pun. It's still a pun.
Yeah, it's just not as good.
Yeah.
Or maybe if they said it with an accent, like if they said it with a British accent, so it's more clear that it's that type of night. Or maybe if Night was part of her name on the show, But anyway, and after the match, they looked like they were gonna beat down Willow some more. They were beating down Willow some more, and then who should return when Rev isn't here to fucking overreact to it? But Sheeta comes out, and they worked me a bit because I was like, is she really? Because she went to join them. She hugged Saraya, she hugged Tony, she hugged Ruby. I was like, why are they doing this in a week where nothing's happening? Why isn't she coming out when like there's 6 women out there, it's 3-on-3 and they're brawling and she's the difference maker, and then she betrays to join them? Like that would have an impact. Like this is kind of weird, but it was just a work because they went to spray paint Willow, and then Jamie and Britt came out from under the ring because turnabout is fair play, I guess. And then Sheeta spray painted Saraya in the face. That's deadly. That's toxic. I hope that's a gimmick spray paint can there.
Right? I was thinking the same thing because she really nailed her with it.
Yeah, that was straight up. I mean, she's literally she got misted a couple times before, so I guess she's used to this. But Sheeta pulled the swerve on him, and then they beat them up, and Sheeta spray painted all 3 of them. And you know what? For as nothing as this match kind of was, and not in a bad way, just in like it wasn't a long match. This finally felt like something. It feels like we're going to get a big 6-woman tag coming out of this. So for the first time in a while, it feels like there's solid progression with the vision of what's coming, not just something cool happening or something happening. We're going to get a big 6-woman tag. I'm looking forward to that. It's not much to say about this match, but I thought this was overall an effective segment.
I think so too. It moved a lot of the players into, I guess, like their final stance. Was Willow celebrating with Britt and Jamie at the end and Sheeta at the end, or was she out of the ring?
She Thanos'd away.
Yeah. I'm a little down on that because I think there's you have a great chance of building her up even more, because those, as beloved as she has become, she is still a level or a layer beneath the other women. So it would have been nice to see her get on that team if they were able to find a fourth woman for the Outcasts, or they're the Outcasts, right?
Wait, what? The Outcasts? Yeah, they're the Outcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have, like, if they were able to find a fourth, it would have been nice. So Willow could have been part of the team, but no, thank you, no, thank you. No, thank you.
I was also like, I was just finally reading this comment. I forgot the cat. There's a dark figure. Are you talking about that? That's just, I have two hats on top of each other. I was talking about that. Those are like my suits and stuff for my job.
That's an Otzel.
That's isn't that
Daxter.
Ratchet and Clank, right?
Ow. Ouch. You're the Sony guy. You're the PlayStation guy, man.
Yeah. I know Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. They were the inferior game series that my favorite game series creators went on to make after they left their better game series of Crash and Spyro. Okay, but we don't need to get into that. But yeah, this was
so
good.
Much hate.
Well, look, I agree, but it just at this point, I think Willow, Sky Blue, those are the lower tier of the women that are just always going to lose to the Outcasts. And like, if they had, I don't know who their third would be, but like they would be the team that they beat.
Rio, apparently.
To go up to that, which is kind of funny, but it's like, yeah, this is the bigger deal. Rio could have been in Sheeta's spot, but the way this Eric, you didn't even make any sense what you said. Oh, Eric just said that because there's a level in Crash Bandicoot 2 he couldn't beat for like years and years. It's called Cold Hard Crash, and it is a bitch of a level. And he got so tilted that he wrote on our friend's Facebook wall about how tilted he was about it. So that's why he's putting out that whack ass opinion. But I'm excited for that 6-woman tag whenever it happens. Probably Double or Nothing. Which when is that at this point? I forget when it is.
End of May 28th, I think it is.
Okay, so they got time. So yeah, they're gonna beat Willow, Sky Blue in a third and a 6-woman tag leading up to that. What could have been Leva Bates, but she's gone. That's one of those ones where it doesn't matter, but it feels weird.
It really does.
She's been a part of the backstage. Like, she's been doing more work behind the scenes than on camera. So that feels more like it's like a backstage personnel that you leave in more than as a talent. It's fine. I mean, I love Blue Pants and all, but like back as a personnel, that's kind of a blow. But yeah, that's that. After that, well, before we get into the next segment, real quick, who are your favorite commenters in our YouTube streams?
I love all of our commenters. I love all of them. I love You Know It. How you doing? I love JL. Eric is scary. I love Dragoon when he shows up. I love Nas. I feel like there's somebody. Iron Lion, I'm a big fan of.
So we had a trios battle royal after this, where I guess it was going to be before that, actually, what led into this was a video package for
a very good one. Very good one
for the House of Black. That everyone's been wondering where they are. Well, here they are, and they basically said, "We're gonna make this division the fucking shit for a while. It's gonna be great. It's gonna have banger after banger after banger, because they're gonna have open challenges under house rules." Which is great. It's a way too punny of a name for a dark gothic group, but I still like it. And essentially, there's going to be 20 counts instead of 10 counts.
I like that.
Yeah, there's not going to be any rope breaks. I don't like that.
You don't like that.
I don't like not having rope breaks. I don't like submissions then, because don't
you think it adds you have to be more creative to get out of a submission now?
Yeah, I think it never ends up being creative. I think it ends up being you crawl out of the ring, and for some reason that breaks the submission. Your opponent lets go. Like, there's been a couple times where people hold on to it even after they fall out of the ring, and that's cool. But I'm not huge on no rope breaks, because there's nothing to break the tension. Then not even just literally break the submission, but to break that tension. Like there's no natural break of the tension besides someone breaking up the submission, which was going to happen in a 6-man tag anyway. But like, it's not that big a deal. I've already made more of a big deal of it than I actually care. But and the other rule was that there would whether there's DQ or not would be up to the challenger, because they want to give them no excuses. It's up to them, whatever they think will help them, which is very, very badass of them. These guys are heels, just being the most badass people on the planet, being like, hey, these are our rules because we're not going to be counted out, and we're not going to have petty rope breaks, and we're not going to be DQ'd if that's what you want. And it's very badass of them. These matches are going to be amazing. I was very happy with this. This was a cool announcement.
I enjoy that Tonight show that being a bad guy is very subjective, because it was very subjective here with the House of Black. You know, like they're being very fair. There's order and there's rules depending on how you want to make them.
And they explain them clearly. They're not trying to swindle anyone here.
Exactly. The BCC,
they're trying to build the future.
Exactly. Like, can you be a villain and without being a bad guy kind of thing? That's how it feels here.
Yeah. Yep. Really does. So that was really cool. So I'm excited for this. So I think we have our first team they're going to face, because we had a trios battle royal between a bunch of nobodies and the Acclaimed. And the Acclaimed came out. Caster had a great line about the Q and QT Marshall standing for QAnon, which I've been making that joke in my head for months. And, I made the joke. It's on a very specific Reddit forum that I don't want anyone to find, because, it's incriminating to a lot of people, QT Marshall probably included. But fun rap and a decent match. It's a battle royal. TV battle royals are real hit or miss. Like sometimes they could be fun, but like the first few minutes of it's always a little boring. It's just a bunch of punch kicks, struggling in the corner sort of thing. But fun stuff. QT Marshall eliminated Alex Reynolds early on. Eva Luna, of course, was eliminated super early. The Dark Order were in this. Not that they're anything anymore, or ever will be again for some reason.
So depressing. Where's Stu? He just came back.
Who cares, man? He's already gone again.
I care. I don't know why. They don't give me a reason to, but I care.
I mean, he's somewhere. But yeah, we had Hobbs was in this, so he's not. I don't think he's ever going to get that rematch for the TNT title. He's right back down the card, like drastically. But anyway, I don't really care. Talking about the beginning of the match, it came down to the Butcher, Blade, and Kip Sabian, and 2/3 of the Acclaim, because Caster was eliminated by the Butcher, who was on the outside for a while, so everyone thought he was gone, but he wasn't. He pulled him out from the outside and pulled him over the rope. And Silver, John Silver. John Silver gets eliminated after having showing off a little of his strength. So it's just Butcher, Blade, and Sabian. The Butcher, the Blade, the Bean versus Anthony Bowens and Daddy Ass. And the crowd were super into this. They were super into Daddy Ass. I'm glad. I mean, the Acclaimed are not as white hot as they were, not because they stopped being over, but because AEW put such a wet blanket on them that, they're just warm now instead of white fucking hot. But they had a few back and forths. Billy Gunn really put into perspective that Butcher is not as big of a dude as I thought he was.
It's not fair. Billy makes big men look small, and they're still big, but there's just something about Billy Gunn that is freakishly big.
Well, we know what the something is.
I'm talking tall. I'm talking height. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, but it's his muscles that really put it into perspective, where he's just so insane. He is fucking mad. He he's a smaller scale version of what The Rock became, where like present day Billy Gunn makes, height of his popularity, 90s Billy Gunn look like a fucking child.
Yep.
But the Acclaimed fight off the Butcher, the Blade, and the Being, and they win the match. So we're gonna get the Acclaimed versus the House of Black. I cannot wait for that rep. I cannot wait for how Max annihilates Buddy for who he's dating and for who he's dating is doing to a young cuck. It's gonna be so good. The match is gonna be amazing, but that line in the rap is just gonna be exquisite. I'm so excited. How excited are you for this? Or if you want to talk about the match, but how excited are you for this 6-person tag we're gonna get?
I am and I'm not. I don't want the Acclaim to lose, and I feel like they're going to lose.
Oh, they're going to lose, but it is perfectly okay in this situation because the House of Black promo is so good. I don't want them to lose anytime soon. I want them to beat everybody.
Me too. Was this Battle Royal an official #1 contenders match, or is it just the assumption that because they won, they're probably going to go on to challenge them?
I think it's the assumption, but why else would they have a trios battle royal on the same night as announcing that?
That's true. Yeah, I'm hyped for it. It's two very, very over acts. And if Billy is the guy who takes the pin, the Acclaim still looks strong, so it'll be good no matter what. And I would just love to see Max and Bowens have a legitimate promo exchange with the House of Black. And how those two styles are so different yet so compelling. It's going to be really interesting to see if they can actually pull it off. And I think they can. I think all 6 men, 5, I guess. I love Billy, but come on, are going to be able to interact. So it'll be good. It'll be good. And just to go back to the House of Black promo, I feel like this was the most natural Julia Hart has come across in a long time.
Oh yeah, actually, I agree with that. That is very, very true. She sounded like a part of the group and not. She just sounded like a part of the group. That's the only way I can really put it. But yeah, I cannot wait. They could have some. They're gonna make a music video for it. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm so excited.
Do you think it could beat the Darby Sting one?
I think so because I think it could be an evolution of it, but it's still good. I still every once in a while, man, 2 grown men and they're going through a goth phase. It's so good, but I think they can. I think they want to. There's so much material. I don't know. You can make a dig at Malachi via his wife and make a reference about a union or something, There's a lot to work with, and I don't need to tell Max. Max already knows he's on it. And Bowens has his back too, because Bowens gives him a lot of not the rhymes, but the topics that he should probably mention. So it is a collaborative effort on their part. But I'm glad if they claimed one, I would have shouted all over this like this was a waste of fucking time. Because it was if that wasn't the case, but we had a backstage promo with Sammy Guevara. He's almost immediately interrupted by MJF, who rolls up all smiles, and Sammy's like, we watch the show here, everyone does, that's we all watch the show back because we're a bunch of marks, and there's a reality show too, but there was no one in the car last week, and MJF's like, yeah. He got super emotional, super quick, in a very fake and put on way. I was like, yeah, I didn't want to tell you this, but I actually have a lumbar problem, and I actually needed to lay down in the back seat of the car because my back has been hurting me for carrying the company on it for the past year.
That bastard.
He's like, and I was just so embarrassed. And he went to walk away. He's like, you don't deserve that, and I don't deserve your friendship. And as he walked away, Sammy grabbed his arm. The audience audibly laughs so loud at that one notion. And he pulls MJF in, kisses him on the forehead, and all is well. They hug and make up, and they're on the same page. They're going to beat Jungle Allen later on tonight and secure their spots in the main event as a singles match. Everyone's excited. Very good. I loved it. Very, very funny. Any comments?
I enjoyed it. It's very clear that these two guys, all four of them, in one way or another, do have a lot of chemistry. And these two were the best partnership that you could have made for both of them. Like, I don't think MJF would have been as good with either of the other two, even with the babyface heel alignment situation. Take that out of it. I still think he and Sammy just work so well together. And it makes you wonder how much Sammy actually buys into it, or if he's playing along as well. And it could go either way. It could go either way, that Sammy is just saying, I am willing to do this for this huge paycheck, or it's, I enjoy being with someone else who's really shitty, or it's, I'm going to turn on MJF the moment I can at the pay-per-view and I'm going to pin him. So there are so many different questions you can make from it that I think are really good. And man, MJF just really can't help himself being a prick, can he? Like, I'm gonna pin him like a little bit. Like it was perfect. It was perfect.
It was. It really was. And there could be a really fun dynamic in that match where MJF or Sammy are working together just to get the other two out of the ring long enough for Sammy to lie down. Like, I would actually like it if there's multiple times where they get Jungle Boy and Darby out of the ring and then Sammy lays down and Max goes for the pin and we get the breakup on right before 3. So like they're trying to do it. He's still trying to lay down, but he keeps getting broken up by the other guys. Like, I think that could be a fun dynamic to what's already going to be a fun match. But real quick, to get through some comments real quick, we're not going to put your typo on the screen because it's just like the
very
funniest.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's the worst typo you could have made, and it's funny though. But it's we can't put that on the TV. But he got suspended for, I think it was that rap. I don't think it was that in particular. I think it was a combination of things. I don't think it was Simone Biles line. I don't believe that at all because he didn't disparage her in any way. I think it was the Duke Lacrosse line that really got him suspended, which, you know what, I'm going to say is also bad, but he made a rap about like Lady Gaga's dog walker after he got fucking shot. Like, like that. I feel like that was actually the worst thing he's ever said. But you know what? It was all worth it for his return, which only happened on Dark. So like, a lot of people have never seen it. So if somehow you're coming across this clip, go look up Max Caster's return rap after suspension because it happened on fucking Dark. It is the best thing ever. I love it. I go back and watch it every once in a while because it's the best. Because he has his pre-written, pre-approved rap by AEW management, and it's perfect. I can wax poetic and philosophical about it constantly, but I'm not going to do that right now. Just go watch it. It is fantastic. I'm super, super into it. And also, Eric, why do Butcher and Blade still have jobs? Beats me, I guess, because Butcher's band broke up, so he needs money. I don't know how that band made money in the first place, but whatever. Have fun at I think it's at a Coheed and Cambria concert, Nick. So have fun at the Coheed and Cambria concert. That's a mouthful. But yeah, right. I think that's going to be a fun part of that match is because there's no reason, right? He should still get paid if he lets MJF pin him. It's just going to be harder to do that now. So they can still keep that thread going throughout the match to make it stand out from just being an amazing match, which I know sounds crazy to say, make it stand out aside from being an amazing match. But, it's going to be a lot of fun. But after this, we had another promo. It was Kenny Omega and Jonathan Callis addressing Jonathan Moxley and some of the stuff he said earlier. And Callis shows off his scar, and he's like, every time I look in the mirror and I see that scar, and I think, damn, now I got to adjust the painting of me and Kenny. God damn it. He says, "Yeah, you're a sick fuck," more or less. And him and Kenny go back and forth talking, which actually came off kind of natural, which could have easily came off as like stilted. But Kenny was like, you know, you can't touch me. There's no planet in which you can touch me between the ropes. But you put a cage around those ropes, I know that evens the odds a bit. You know, that's your kind of world. I know you can fight. And Don even said he had the heaviest hands in the business. But he says, he's like, hey, you're probably going to make me bleed. You're probably going to make yourself bleed. And that's, you don't have to say probably. Just be straightforward. We all know it's coming.
He's going to enter the ring already bleeding.
Yeah, that's why he only had a backstage segment this week, because he needed him to not bleed this week. So, you know, but he said at the end of the day, everything's going to come to an end in Detroit, which means that Takeshita is totally going to turn on him next week. Enjoying the BCC. We didn't get Shida joining the Outcast, but we will get Takeshita joining the BCC.
You think that's going to be next week?
Maybe. I don't know for sure, because I kind of thought Kenny was going to win. But maybe I just want that because I want Brian to beat Kenny, and you can't have Kenny lose to both of them. But I don't know. I just said it as I was saying it out loud that is what would happen. But it was a good promo. It was a good response, and I'm excited for next week. I assume you're excited.
I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a fun match. Cage matches are weird because I almost always expect the heel to win. But I think this is going to have a slightly different dynamic. So we'll see. And I hope Kenny is still definitely underneath Moxley in terms of wins, right? Like Mox definitely. No. I feel
Isn't
like the series
2-1 Kenny? Because Kenny won the title and then he won the barbed wire death match.
So
Moxley won the lights out match.
That was it?
In AEW, yeah, that's all I can remember. I don't remember them having another match besides the lights out match.
Wow, I think you're right. I don't know why I felt like Mox was more dominant. But
they never really wrestled more than the one time, from what I remember. But like every week he was laying them out. Like he won the feud. Like it was very lopsided.
Yeah.
But
wow, yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I think Kenny could definitely pull out the win next week. And then, like you said, I think he loses to Brian. I think that's a big match that they could have almost anywhere. Like, I don't know if you hold it. No, I was going to say Wembley, but we're still too far away from that. Yeah, I think you could pull that off. Even if you wanted to wait for... yeah. They don't have the guts to hold off until Grand Slam. It would be way too long.
I mean, it would be fucking... I would love to be there again.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't think we're going to get that again. But, you know, whatever. We'll see. I just wanted to mix up things a little bit with the background.
It's very, like, it's exciting, you know? It's very lively, the background.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. But anyway, after this, Wardlow beat a jobber. No one cares. Or did he? I don't even know who he wrestled, actually. I completely fast-forwarded it. I assume
it was a jobber. Which, can I comment real quick on?
Sure.
How have they not learned their lesson with how they booked him previously, and they're doing it exactly the same way now? How have they not learned their lesson? And quite frankly, you know it. I'm a big, not you, you know it. Like, you know it. I'm a big Wardlow fan. He looked gassed after beating the jobber. He sounded gassed. And that's not a good look for your champion, your TNT champion. Like, if all you're doing is powerbombing a guy, which, granted, that takes a lot of core strength. I know that it does. You should not sound like you're huffing and puffing and wheezing when that is your gimmick. You know? If it was just like a random thing, like you were doing it in a match and you showed how tired you were, which, granted, I loved how they did that in the main event with a spot. That's one thing. But this is your thing. Powerbombing a guy repeatedly is your thing by choice. You can't look and sound tired after doing it. So, very weird bit. And please, I don't want to see Wardlow with jobbers anymore. or at the very least, enhancement talent. Put him against actual people on the roster and have him beat them. But it's got to be more than what we're getting. We know he's capable of it. So please stop doing this.
Yeah, you're right. But after the match, Wardlow calls out Christian and demands that Luchasaurus accepts an open challenge for the TNT Championship here and now. And like, I gotta just real quick, and I've probably said it before, and I probably will say it again. Does no one remember what open challenge means? Does not have an open. That's just a challenge. If you're calling out a specific person for a match, that is a challenge.
Yep.
An open challenge is if it's open to all comers. That's what it means. You can't have an open challenge. Like, they do this thing, and this makes the wrestler look dumb. But then there's other times where they're like, oh, the TNT champion is going to have an open challenge. It was accepted by this person. It's like, bro, no, that's an advertised match. Like, that's not, again, that's not how it works. The open challenge is exciting because we don't know who's going to come out until they come out. It's so frustrating. It's like a pet peeve, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And it's driving me crazy. But anyway, Christian and Luchasaurus come out, and, Wardlow's dad is quaking in his coffin, but he has nothing to fear this week because the gloves are still on for now, just for now. Because Christian comes out and he said, I can send my right hand instruction right now to the ring if I wanted to. I just don't want to because Baltimore sucks. And I don't agree. Baltimore is a great place. Go Orioles. Best team in the AL East. I'm always rooting for you guys. Cal Ripken Jr. is a hero. Better shortstop than I've ever seen. Anyone I've seen in my lifetime. Better third baseman than anyone I've seen in my lifetime. Just an all-around hero of a person. And then Baltimore, the song by Mal Blum is pretty good too. Check it out. So I don't agree with them on that, but still, I understand where he's coming from. I haven't had to go to Baltimore like he has, so maybe it is bad. I don't really know. But he says Luchasaurus isn't going to be accepting your challenge. It's going to be me. And everyone's like, surprise Pikachu face. But like, guys, he just told Jungle Boy like 2 months ago that he was going to win gold before him. So, if his match goes on before the main event of the pay-per-view, he's secured that promise, because heels aren't liars anymore in the show. We've established. And,
harsh truths. Harsh truths.
I think you all would be expecting me to be upset about this, that it's not going to be Luchasaurus. But you know what? I don't care. Christian deserves it. And also, he probably won't win. And then Luchasaurus can beat him so that Wardlow gets at least a couple of defenses in before dropping the title again. And he gets one over a legend. And then he could drop it to a real, like a living legend. Not that the other legends aren't living, but so I actually was a fan of this. I was a fan of the twist. I'm a fan of Christian doing anything in AEW, which is insane considering how he debuted. But this is all been great. Who would have thought, man? Like, Billy Gunn has been better than Road Dogg in modern times and better influence on the business. Fucking Christian has been 1,000 times better than Edge. Yep. And Sting has been better than, there's no equivalent for Sting, but he's just been great.
Sting has made Darby look better. Undertaker had a weird thing with Bray Wyatt, who exists somewhere in the world. Where? I don't know. Not on TV, but he exists somewhere. So, yeah, AEW really rocking it with these legends.
Yeah. I don't mean to make it an AEW versus WWE thing there. It is pure coincidence that Road Dogg works for WWE and that Edge works for WWE. Or maybe it's not, but I think it is. I think Road Dogg is just the way he is.
Yep.
And that's fine. He says stuff I don't hate. Yes, you have a thing.
No, different thing, different. But I don't want to derail this, so keep going. Keep shitting on Road Dogg. I like it.
Oh no, I didn't have much else. He says his dumb things. You know, Cody hasn't been through any adversity. You know, he couldn't just walk in and we give him the title. That wouldn't make any sense. You know, you can't just come back and then automatically get the title. You know, kind of like how Roman Reigns did when he came back in 2020. He came back, faced literally no adversity, has had the title ever since.
Yep.
The fuck? And you know what? It's worked out fine. You have your biggest star in decades, right? Isn't that how it worked? So maybe you could have just
given him the goddamn title.
God, man. The only adversity Roman's face is real life adversity, okay?
Exactly. You literally cannot write harder adversity than what Roman has gone through in real life. Cody not facing adversity, by the way. You know what they just revealed like the new wave of like WWE action figures. They're releasing a goddamn Stardust. That's your adversity. But anyway, going back to the thing I wanted to say about AEW, because that's the show we're reviewing. Man, I know I don't think he's gonna beat Wardlow. If anybody has to beat Orange Cassidy, Christian feels like the right guy to do it.
I mean, he'd be a good guy to do it. I mean, I already said I think Bryan would be the best guy to do it. But
Bryan would be the best guy, but I just don't ever expect Bryan to win big matches. I just don't anymore. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking tragic. I get mad about it every once in a while.
No, my blood pressure. I feel it spiking a little bit right now, but it's just true.
It's like, damn, I guess it's good that I have reasons to dislike AEW as well, but like I don't like the reasons I dislike AEW. Which I guess makes sense in the literal sense. But anyway, yeah, this is fun. Christian's just great. It's fantastic. I can't wait for more of this. We had not a backstage segment, but a back road segment with Jay Lethal, Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt, and Mark Briscoe. You know, they rolled up on the Briscoe farm and were just like, "How did you beat FTR? Let's go fishing. We're all boys here." It's so weird how much I like this group now. It's so weird how much I like Jeff Jarrett specifically right now.
I gotta say, they're doing right by all of them. Lethal is weirdly like the straight man in this group.
Yeah.
And this
he's
is
he's the guy holding it all together because he's got to take all the bumps and do all the wrestling.
Yeah. And this is a guy who used to be the Macho Man somehow.
Yeah.
So, but he's the straight man in this group, and you find like Sanjay Dutt has always been fun, but they're finally fine tuning how to play his wackiness, and I think it's working. Yeah. And they are absolutely, in my opinion, they're striking gold with Satnam Singh and having him be like this weirdly like playful, gentle giant. It's so bizarre, but they're doing great with him. And then Jarrett is like your favorite Southern uncle somehow. And I don't know how we've gotten here, but I'm happy we're here. I don't expect them to win anything. They're going to lose everything. And that's part of what's making them so appealing is the fact that they're going to keep losing. But eventually they're going to win something that we don't expect, and it's going to set the entire AEW world on fire. In literal sense, it will be fire and brimstone if they ever win a title.
I'm going to tie it into something else that happened on the show, but I want them to beat the Hardys in the deletion match. We'll get to that, I think, in a second. We had a Juice Robinson versus Ricky Starks. I don't have much to say about this. I started to tune out a lot at this point in the show.
Wait, what? I'm so sorry. One last thing.
Sure.
When Jeff Jarrett said, "What a pretty little girl," and Mark Briscoe's like, "It's a boy." Very good.
It was a good segment. I liked it. Everyone's playing their part well here, except FCR. But
yeah,
you know they will. They will. So it's so funny. I don't want to complain about this every week, but we took the titles off the Acclaim, and now FTR is literally facing the same team that the Acclaim just faced like a month ago, 2 months ago. And it's like, how are we doing it with a less, and why are we repeating it with a less entertaining whatever, but you know what I mean, like how is Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal the team that's in the tag title match 2 months later,
crazy.
not the Acclaimed?
It's crazy.
And I don't think they don't deserve to be there. It's the champs. It's weird. But anyway, Rock Hard took on Absolute, an absolute Rock Hard match, and it was fine. That was a really scary looking botch on the tornado DDT where Juice like fell in a. He didn't fall face first and he didn't fall like back first. He kind of fell side first, but while twisting, it was uncomfortable to watch. But other than that, the match was fine. It was good, some decent action, and Ricky won with the spear and then the Rochambeau. And then he gets jumped by Jason White after the match, but he kind of chases him off and stands tall. All fine. This is probably pissing off Eric now, but Goldberg beating Cassidy. If Goldberg sold Cassidy's kicks, at least, you know, like if he gave him the confused look, you know, while I was giving it, if he at least did that, you know, maybe I wouldn't hate it. But you know, then he could headbutt the title before it comes out every week. There's something there.
Bill goes for the spear, and we just get an orange punch instead. I pop like crazy.
Yeah, he gets jackhammered while he has his hands in his pocket. It would be funny. But yeah, do you have anything to say about the Ricky Starks Juice Robinson match?
I really liked, but it was also another spot that was uncomfortable because it was scary. The steel step spot where Ricky is walking up, holding Juice, and then does a body slam to him from the top of the steps to the floor. That was a drop, you know, like that was a nasty little drop, and Juice sold it very well. Juice is a very underrated talent, in my opinion. I don't think he should be winning any world championships, but he's the type of guy you could easily heat up for a mid-card title, and I think he would do wonders with it. So I'm wanting to see some wins for him, but it was necessary for Ricky to get this win, especially because the real feud is with Jay White, who looked like an 80s like coke dealer tonight, and I loved it for him.
Yes, he did. It's super duper just another guy. He's always actually been just another guy, Eric. I hate to rip this band-aid off of you right now, but your boy is just a guy.
In AEW. In AEW.
In anywhere besides Japan, you know.
It's only been there, but
he wouldn't even be the guy in ROH. Okay, I couldn't even buy him as the guy to dethrone Claudio.
I don't even know who that would be at this point. But
so he is just I'm so sorry. I don't want to I don't want to completely steamroll you and not let you speak, but I just need Eric, producer boy, to understand that your guy Jay White, he ain't shit, and he ain't ever gonna be shit. He is literally a nobody. He's a taller Adam Cole, and that means fucking nothing, bro. He is absolutely just a guy. My dude looks like he's on amphetamines, bro. Like he is not the type of guy you should be idolizing, bro. He looks like he likes Sons of Anarchy a little too much. You know what I mean? He's a
knife pervert. He's a knife pervert. That's his whole thing. He's a pervert for knives. No,
yeah, that's stupid. That's stupid. That's a stupid gimmick. And he's never going to be anything, bro. He's never going to get the reactions you think he deserves. He's never going to be world champion in AEW. And he's just the worst Bullet Club leader of all time, which isn't saying much because they've had a lot of good leaders. But, he's going to be remembered as when Bullet Club was officially like completely not salvageable and not cool anymore.
Oh,
and I'm so sorry,
producer boy. With this. I don't want to be associated with this.
Oh, Jay, if you come across this, you're great, bro. Don't worry. I just really want to stick it to producer boy.
Who said he would be producer boy for us tonight?
Yeah, he is producing something. But body of a god, bro. And He looks like he was raised by cigarettes. Like, what are you talking? Like, dude looks like a mechanic, and not in a bad way. Just looks like a mechanic. You know, it's fine. It's an admirable job. Like, we need mechanics. It's an important part of society. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like, you know, he looks like the type of mechanics that bullied Will and the In-Betweeners, you know? And that's fine. Like, but anyway, the last season, every season of Sons of Anarchy was ass. I've never seen it, but I stand by that opinion. And also, again, I don't really have strong opinions about Jay White. That was just doing a bit to pry producer boy. But anyway, he was just a guy, is the point. Anyway, do you have anything else on this?
No, I still think Sean Spears is turning on Starks. I think we're going to get Jay versus Ricky at the pay-per-view, and then Sean turns on Ricky, and we get this trio of Bullet Club Gold. But man, it feels like the pay-per-view is too far away. It feels like it should be in like 2 weeks, not 3.
This also doesn't feel like a pay-per-view match.
I mean, I feel like Ricky's a big name now, or he's climbing up as a big name in AEW. And
well,
Jay White is
there's
just
nobodies are
generally
dragging him down, so
I can't.
you know,
I don't support this, so I will not condone it.
Like, it's just true, man. Jay White doesn't deserve to wrestle on an AEW pay-per-view as of right now. But again, Jay, don't be a baby. It was all just jokes, man. Okay. Grow up. All right, go make out with the knife or whatever it is you do. Fucking weirdo. You're a knife pervert. Your associates rock hard. Like this. Grow up with the dick jokes. You know, that's all I feel like is I feel like you guys are compensating. But anyway, what happened after this? That's it, right? The main event.
Yeah, I think
we're gonna get a firm deletion. I don't care.
We had one last backstage promo, where Jungle Boy and Darby were getting ready to go
MJF
out.
came in. Yeah,
they
were getting ready to go in, and they were like, "Yeah, bro, I hate you. Let's do it. Like, go team, go." And Darby went out first. MJF snuck in. Somehow Darby didn't notice him. Very stealthy MJF. And he was just like, "Hey, man, you're going to fight for this guy that you don't even like when I still think we can be the top 2 guys in this company. You'll obviously never be world champ." And, you know, again, have the heels really been wrong this episode? But
Jesus.
You know, he's like, "But you can be next to the throne." And Darby's like, "I don't want to be next to the throne. I want your crown." And it's like, MJF's not wearing a crown. But the throne is the throne. Just say you want the throne, man. You know, if you had to, would you rather have a crown or a throne? Like, a throne sounds better to me. A crown sounds pointless.
I feel like a throne is limiting though. Like, I could wear my crown anywhere, but like I could only sit in the throne wherever it is.
Yeah, but I think crowns make you look stupid, where a throne's just like, you either look comfortable or you look important. If you wear a crown, like, I think you're a goofball. If you're a throne, I feel like that yields a little more respect, you know?
I don't know, man. When Roman wore Xavier's crown, he looked royal.
Anyway. You like Burger King or McDonald's better?
I'm a Burger King guy.
Sure, I don't care. It's all the same. They're all whatever. I don't really care about fast food. But yeah. So then we had, after that little segment, just to sow some seeds that, hey, maybe that comes into play at the pay-per-view along with some of the other stuff I said. Oh man, how did you find a link to get one of those pumps? You know it. Like, where are you looking for them? While you're at it, do you know if there's any hot singles in our area? But oh man, I actually have a really I have a fun meme I want to make based on some pictures from the WWE Instagram account. But anyway, The main event happened. Do you want you know what? I'm gonna give this one to you. You can tell them about the main event. I'm gonna take a little power now.
Okay. This was a nice back and forth. Darby tried quickly to get a pin on MJF to end it early. MJF really sold the panic in this match. He was terrified of this one-on-one guaranteed win turning into a fatal four-way. Sammy comes in. There's I don't know how to really describe it. It was just it felt like for a while it was the good guys versus Sammy, and then eventually the animosity, the tension starts to take hold. MJF tags himself in as Sammy's doing the work and then tries to get a pin. Sammy is slightly upset about it, but MJF tells him, we're trying to win. That's all this is. We're trying to win. And then MJF goes for that powerbomb shoulder breaker that he does, and Sammy tags himself in, and he goes for the pin. Both heels start to, get in each other's face, and MJF slaps the spit out of Sammy Guevara. Sammy doesn't take too kindly to it, super kicks MJF out of the way, leading to Jungle Boy capitalizing, like a true heel, might I say. Capitalizing while two friends are fighting. Just classless. And he super kicks Sammy, gets on his knees, he hits him with that weird, forearm elbow thing that he does to the back of the head. Like a true heel, hitting someone in the back of the head. And then he goes for the pin, but he didn't realize that Darby tagged himself in. He's going for the pin. The ref's like, hey, idiot, you can't pin him. And then Darby gets up to the top rope, goes for the coffin drop, just missing Jungle Boy, who slams out of there like a coward. And he hits it on Sammy, getting the 1, 2, 3, and staring Jungle Boy down the entire time. MJF, furious, goes up the ramp, terrified about this fatal four-way, angry, starts getting into the face of a child, as he is wont to do, and this is now our main event for Double or Nothing. How did I do?
I have a question first, actually. I don't want to disrupt the flow of the show too much, but do you think those kids that MJF yells at deserve it?
I think as long as he doesn't push it too much, I think that's an awesome memory to have. I think that's a great an interaction as a wrestling fan. As long as he's not maybe pouring tequila in their eyes. Or vodka, whichever it was. I think it's
tequila's fine. Vodka's too far. But I'm going to say those kids deserve it. Those kids need to face some adversity, and MJF is providing that. They're living very privileged lives. They're sitting in the front freaking row. I'm supposed to feel bad for them? No, screw them. They have it too easy. I would never be able to afford to sit in the front row.
So is MJF, should he join the BCC because he's trying to lay the groundwork for future world champions, for future adversity overcomers, future not Cody Rhodes's?
He should. He should. You know what? He was doing Cody a favor when he turned on him back in the day. But yeah, I think those kids need to. They have it too easy that their parents are buying them $1,000 tickets. Imagine spending $1,000 on a seat for a child. Bro,
I don't think those seats are $1,000. I don't think they are. I think they're a few hundred, but I don't think they're $1,000. They weren't in the front row. They were in the ramp front row. That's still different.
That's maybe $800. That's
I guess that's fair.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
A lot of money. It's a lot of money to spend on a stupid kid.
Could be going to their college fund.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're probably friends with Lori Loughlin, so it's fine.
That's a deep cut right there.
Well, everyone can catch strays on this show, but. Fun match. It was very convoluted how we got here, but we're getting to the fatal four-way, and that's all that matters. Whoa. No disparaging emos here. We just had an emo in the main event. He's the second most charismatic person there.
Is he emo or is he goth? Because I think he's a grown man going through a goth phase.
I mean, I think he's both. I think they're not interchangeable, but they go hand in hand. I think emo culture is vastly underrated and disparaged by gatekeepers and snobs and elitists, and just people who also listen to shit that's crappy too. But anyway, I'm glad we're getting there. I'm glad we're getting this fatal four way. I think despite the weird journey we've taken, I think it's led to some interesting dynamics for the match. I know you explained the match, but do you have any opinions on it, or like you're trying to keep those two things separate? You know,
I thought it was. I think we're seeing a little bit more now. You know, we've seen some interaction or some combination of these guys for the last few weeks, and we keep saying it feels like they're holding back a little bit. They're holding back a little bit. This match allowed them to sort of expand a little bit, and those subtle little touches of them. I mean, not so subtle in other ways, of them finally turning on each other or confronting one another, and now seeing different matchups. Like, we didn't see Darby versus Jungle Boy at any point in this feud, but you know, we're starting to see them potentially going after one another. We're finally seeing Sammy and MJF going after one another, so it feels like it's building at the proper rate, and I think the match did a good job of pushing the story further.
I agree. I don't really have much else to add. The show was filler, but it had its moments. I like the House of Black promo. I like the BCC promo. I like Max Caster's rap. And yeah, I liked the Sheeta return. So this was a good. No, it wasn't. This was a show. It was decent at best. It was a chore to get through at some points, but such is life. I guess final questions. What do you think about the writer's strike?
Oh, I'm affected. I know Eric wants to jump off a bridge. I'm affected by it too. Pretty crap timing for me, but I want my writing brothers to get what they deserve. I want better pay. I'm a writer, so I want us to get better pay.
What's the last thing you wrote?
I'm actually writing something now, but I can't talk about it. I'll tell you about it after. I'll tell you about it after. I can't talk about it on
know. I do want to know. I'm very curious. Okay. Interesting. How much you getting paid for it? Can you talk about that?
We'll see. We'll see. Let's see how the strike goes.
Yeah, fair enough. Interesting. 5.7, you know, is that how you feel about life right now, or is that the show? You never know when I'm hosting what we're actually talking about. But all right, I guess real quick, on a scale of 8 to 23, what would you give the show?
15.
I give it a 13, but all right. Yeah, it happened. It was a show. Guys, look, we have social media. Follow us on Instagram. We don't care about Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. Check out our TikTok. We're working on MySpace. It's a lot more difficult than you'd think to make a page for a site that doesn't operate the way it used to. Check us out on all the socials, subscribe. We got stuff coming up. We're going to be pumping out more shows. We're going to review Backlash this Saturday. And we're going to be working on some more content, hopefully in the future. But we'll just stick with us, join us. But thank you for those who have joined us. Thank you. You know it. Jay, you're not here, but thank you in case you somehow come across this. Producer boy, go get bit by a duck, my guy. And yeah, have a good night. Don't drink and drive. Be nice to animals. It's been not real, but it's been. It's definitely been.
Oh, yep, there you go.